Welcome, everybody. It's episode 213. It's fall. Did we know that it's fall? Wow.
Yeah.
Do you feel fall feelings in Sacramento?
Yeah. Well, I think part of the reason why I have a headache is because it's that we have that weather where it's like one day it's sunny and the next day it's cloudy, and I don't know if that affects me, but I think it does.
Are your overnights cold yet, or getting cold?
Yeah, I actually had to when the nighttime start dropping so low, because all summer long it's pretty much where my snake room is basically running on ambient, but I had to go around and adjust everything and get the oil heater out. And snakes are paired. I've already started pairing snakes, so.
Oh snap! I haven't done that yet. I'm not ready spiritually.
I can tell when the females, like, usually around September, the females start acting like you have to watch out when you open their enclosure or go near their enclosure, even, because they're like bashing their face or like biting you on the coming out and like trying to bite you on the face. And it's like, okay, well, then I start upping their food, and then I do that for about a month, and then I start trying to pair. And usually stuff doesn't happen until like another month, but I still start trying.
Yeah, I'm a little delayed because it's like really hot until all of a sudden it's not. So I pair later. VetDNA.com. Do you need to test something? My favorite part of the world that we live in currently is everyone will glaze up shed testing for morph mutations, but they still will not test for diseases. It's just like the coolest thing that we're doing right now. And I love that for us. So fix that in your hearts, everybody, because otherwise I will spank you. The end. That's the end of my spot. God Christ. All right. Right now, Shane Kelley's live on his own podcast. Did you know? I double dipped. I'm sorry, Shane. I told him I was going to do it, and I did it because we had to. But he's on Reptiles Unplugs, and I think he'll be in Nashville this weekend. That's his update. Bravo Zulu Python, she is going to be at St. Louis, and nothing until that one in the Midwest show. So that's in November. Otherwise, taking care of those little baby Dominican red mountain boas. Stoneage ball pythons, I don't know where Justin is. Still don't know. I think he's alive, but I don't actually know. So check him out. Stoneage pythons on Instagram or Morph Market. Andrew will be at Hillsboro this weekend, last show of the year, and he's still working on getting all of his ball python clutches hatched. Gray Family Stakes also at Nashville. It's like a quad weekend. I'll be at a show too. Everybody's at a show. Gray Family Stakes, and those will be the people who are on next week's, like, this will be the next week will be the last week of like doing show talk. Oh my God, just every show ever. And we'll move on to something else, because I'll just do mine as like a member live to complain about Denver or gush over it. Who knows? And then we'll be done. And then we'll move on to other topics. And we won't have to talk about it anymore. Thank God. Because it is fun, but after a while it gets boring. And then Chris will be at Gettysburg on November 8th with all of the usual suspects. And then tonight, do we have no comments? Are we not live? Did we confuse everybody by changing the day?
Maybe. Or maybe everyone's like, these nerds are boring.
I'm surprised nobody's here.
I mean, isn't that what we're all here about? Snake sex?
I know. You would think he would be into it.
I'm into it. It's like,
I know.
I'm obsessed with it.
It says it's live and it's public. So that's pretty good. It was that boring thumbnail.
No, I loved it. I
was like, should I put like snakes have sex for fun? Like, I don't know what to put on it, but I'm like, that's gonna get like demonetized immediately. So I was just like, whatever. It's a paper review. We're talking about a paper.
Do you think they have sex for fun?
Don't they?
I don't think they do. I think that the females don't and the males don't.
What about the snake female clitoris? They have a hemiclitoris. That's a clitoris on both sides.
But in the paper, they were talking about how, like, one snake, they got it out of the wild, and it had like 2 litters, like, and after never being paired after they got it from the wild.
Oh, like the one in the zoo was using retained sperm?
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean she didn't like what happened. She liked it so much she kept his baby better.
Well, I mean, I think that the one thing that about this paper that I was disappointed with is that they were studying a population where they have really small litters. So a lot of them are just having one baby. So it was like, well, you can't find out anything when they're only having one baby. Like,
well,
okay,
let's summarize a little
do
bit.
it. Yeah, let's do it.
So this is in New Mexico. New Mexico? Arizona. Arizona.
Yeah.
Arizona? Why don't I know that?
I don't know why there is. I was confused because there was like I don't know what they were.
Okay, it was in Arizona because that's where their permits are for. So it's a population of atrox that was individually marked. Some of them were radio telemetry checked on the rig, and they were observed multiple times a day during their active season. If they were like, they wanted to see who was getting hanky-panky with who and where. And they did this for 10 years. That's a long time. So they were checking on them. And this is a population, like Lisa said, that is smaller in adult size with smaller litters of babies. The mean litter size was 4.3, which is very small. So I don't know if that's just like an adaptation to that area to just go have little litters, or if it was.
That's what they were saying, is because of the food available, like
Not enough food.
Yeah.
And because they had little litters on purpose, they were saying that even though most rattlesnakes are like biennial, so like breeding every other year, these ones often were annual breeders.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
It is very cool because that means, like, if you think about it, a lot of boas, I know they've done the paper because you can look at somebody's ovaries and see how many times they've ovulated in their life. Do that with snakes too. So most of the boa papers that we have are from boas in the Amazon basin, and they're almost all biennial. But it's clear that that trait is plastic, and in other places they probably could do it annually sometimes if there's enough food resources.
Yeah, especially like boa sigma, because it's almost in the same like area.
Right. So maybe they want to have little litters every year sometimes.
Do they? Is that what the Tarahumara do?
I don't know.
That's why you can never find them in the hobby. Like they're rare. Like if you want to go shopping for a Tarahumara, it's kind of hard to find them because they're just having like a few babies each time.
Probably, but I also think, I don't know if we want to reveal all of the secrets of the hobby, but like we've talked about before, where like if you tell people they can't breed until they're 8, maybe they won't try. But it's possible if they were fed a little bit more, they would breed annually with bigger, more litters, but less babies per litter.
If you think about the people that preach that, it's people who do it for a living.
It sure is. It sure is. So we're not saying what you should do, but I think like whole regions may have a different sort of modality to how they want to have babies, and we may be like trying to square peg round hold them into a hobby modality, but that we might have learned that from a different subspecies or different region.
Yeah, it's also like this is all just like, because we're taking what they say in the paper and trying to extrapolate that into what we're seeing in our boxes, in our houses, or in our barns or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a 1-to-1. So, but we still, maybe you can see patterns and try to draw conclusions, but you know, you have to take it with a grain of salt.
Right. These are obviously not all these rattlesnakes are not all boas and all pythons, nor do they experience the same situations. But rattlesnakes are effectively the temperate boa python kind of ectotherm. They fill the same niche.
The ambush, sit and wait ambush predator that hunts with heat pits.
Mm-hmm. So, like, maybe we can make some inferences a little bit. And the paper is in the YouTube description if you all want to click or read it later and read along. It's on PLOS One, which is a free journal. You don't have to pay. There's no paywall. What else was interesting? Multiple paternity in half of the litters, because they also then did genotyping on all of, not everything, but on like the sheds, like the first shed of babies, and then of the ones they knew, they tried to make like a whatever, do the all so they could identify all the individuals in the area. And there was multiple paternity in half of the litters, and 5 of the 12 had 3 fathers.
Yes. But some of them had, that was one of my favorite things was the table 2, where the graph where you could look and try to see like how many times that they found that mother with babies. Because what's really cute is these are not like some other rattlesnakes where they do communal birthing and denning. They just have babies by themselves. And so I kept picturing like a mother with one little baby like coiled up in her lap. Like how cute that must have been to find.
This table? You can't see it.
Table 2. Yeah. Table, let me see. Yes. So I was trying to see if there was any father. So the paper also said that in the ratio, their sex ratio in the area where they were studying, it was 2 males to 1 female. So there's more males. So the females are getting around. It's because there's more males for them to meet. You know?
Well, there wasn't 2-1 sex ratio. It was a 2-1 like effective reproduction rate.
Oh, is that what it? Okay.
Right. Because females would take a year off. So like the active participants in any 1 year was a 2-to-1 ratio. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, some of this stuff I'm like, I do not understand. Like the whole thing about the males, like some of the spatial ecology of the males. For some reason I couldn't understand that part of the paper. Like, okay. They were just basically saying that the males that lived closer to the females were the ones having or the fathers.
Right, because snakes aren't territorial. They don't defend their territory from other snakes. They have home ranges, and those often overlap with other snakes. And so the most probable father was just one that happened to overlap with that female. But if you look at the number of hectares, where's the males tended, not always, but to have bigger ranges. Like there's a 30 hectare. Some of the males have small ones, they're babies, but like most of the females were on the smaller side. Which I thought that was interesting. They're just like, well, somebody will come to me.
Yeah, I think that's super common though across species in a lot of snakes.
Yeah. Well, even in like turtles, I think there was a significant difference between male and female home range in my study group. But the thing that they alluded to in the discussion was that some males did not have any babies born. They weren't siring anything in a year. And most males weren't like power users that ran around and tried to grab every female they possibly could. They just bred with who they could. And if they were a big male, they would protect her and wouldn't even try to sneak off.
Yeah, that was one of the things. So what prompted me to share this paper with you guys is I was kind of like talking about something I noticed with my in my collection, that I noticed that some males will mate and then want to stay and guard that female. And then I've seen it the opposite, where a male will mate and then all of a sudden he's pushing like I've never seen him push to get out of the enclosure, even though they only mated one time. And I noticed the 2 times when I saw a male do that, where they mated and then just wanted out. They were both first-year males. But I've also had a first-year male that wanted to mate guard.
Do you think he was bigger?
He wasn't. He was a carpet python, and he was pretty. I mean, he wasn't tiny, but you know, he at that time my collection was a lot smaller, so there probably wasn't as many smells around for him. But maybe because I was wondering if maybe the smaller males could smell the bigger males, and they're like, "I did my job. Now I need to get out of here before something happened."
Chris is here, and Warren Booth says, one thing to note about the paper, since we know that atrox can store sperm at least 6 years, it's possible the multiple paternity litters in the study resulted from a mix of sperm storage and recent copulations. That is correct.
That's why I don't think that it's ever just for fun. I think those females are always getting the goods.
The thing is, like, we don't know about, like, cryptic female sperm selection. Like, we don't know how she chooses. I mean, we know where she keeps them, but we don't know. She's like, oh, this one's the best. Or
that's
like,
one thing that I wish that, well, one of the things that they could have added onto this paper is done like some sort of with the babies that they got the DNA from, and tried to compare homozygosity, and to see if, you know, because they were at the end of the paper, they were saying, well, why are they having multiple sires when it's not like if they mate with more males, they're having more babies, because it was the same amount of babies no matter how many males they were mating with.
There's no significant increase in female fecundity.
Yeah,
has multiple.
So they need to do like a to test those babies to see if they have a higher genetic diversity.
What's interesting about it, because atrox do like male competition, which forces like a selection pressure on being a little bit bigger anyway for the male gender. But it's not clear like what's more important in atrox, like female cryptic selection, gamete competition, like between multiple gametes, or stored versus fresh, versus she thinks he's really heterozygous, so he smells nice. I don't like, and then like proximity was more important than anything else anyway, because it's not like they're like a deer who stands in a field and all the lady deer get to watch them like fight it out, and then
one deer gets to breed multiple.
Right, snakes don't get to watch one stud.
That's the one thing. That's another thing they didn't include in the paper, is they didn't talk about finding males, what males they saw participating in combat versus the males that they didn't see. And if those males that are fighting ended up being males that actually ended up reproducing, they did say that there was a difference in the very large, like the really large males that would mate guard for a very long, like they noticed a trend, like the smaller males would mate guard. Well, like they were from like what, 700 to 900 millimeters or something like that. So that was the difference in the size of the males. And they noticed that the really large males would mate guard longer, and there was a more likelihood that they would be the sole sire of the litter.
What's up, Christina? And then
so I don't know if the males that are out fighting are the ones that are going to end up. They didn't show that.
The other thing is they alluded to males not being in the study area but not having any babies produced, but they didn't allude to if there was any babies born that they could not determine paternity for. Like, I don't know, a rogue male, because this happens in turtles a lot.
Yeah,
they're called just like wandering turtles. Box turtles do it, wood turtles do it. They just walk.
Yeah, like there's
line.
A few males that have really like much larger ranges too.
Dr. Booth says, the classic theory behind polyandry by females is that it increases genetic diversity across the litter, not necessarily per offspring. It's a mechanism to reduce inbreeding. Mm-hmm. But then a male, I don't know. Okay. Like males should want to sire the maximum number of offspring. So they should not want to mate guard. But if there's a lot of sperm competition, they would want to mate guard so that they could at least get one litter out of the one viable female that year.
Yeah, because they did say that there was actually like 75% of the times that they found pairs like together. They didn't say like how long that, but those males ended up not even bothering any of the litter.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if this was done in a species that has more, or a location that has more babies. You would see more of the like the permutations. Like he could snag a couple at the end.
I mean, I part of the reason why they choose a study site is because of access to it. So it's not like you can just be like, because maybe the best is just like impossible. Like
listen, it was 10 years and it was lots of field work. So like I'm happy enough for government work. Listen. What else was interesting? They did reference sneaker males, so like the younger ones could hit it and quit it, then hit it and quit it. So that might be a strategy while they're small. But I don't think they identified one where they're like, I'm sure this one's successful because I didn't watch everybody all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's possible like some of these behaviors are not that relevant here, but would be more relevant in a different location. Like mate guarding. Like if it's the only female that's going to go this whole year, then every male should guard that one female.
The thing about the males that were mate guarding females that they ended up not even siring any of the litters, the babies in the litter, that made me think about how we used to think that birds were like the females were monogamous, and the father that made the nest and took care of the babies was the sire, like the sired those offspring. But then once DNA, we were able to test genetically, we found out that oftentimes those babies weren't even that bird's.
She's a hoe. She's a hoe.
That was the dad, but he wasn't the genetic. So it's like maybe those males that were guarding the females were providing something for that female in order to, because have you ever noticed that when your females are developing, are especially not even developing, but like once they ovulate, they get kind of like almost like really lethargic and just want to like sit in peace and like sleep more.
Mm-hmm.
And, so maybe having males around helps like her feel calmer and able to develop, more like less stress, and then she's able to develop her follicles. And I mean, this is just like, I'm just like thinking about it, like, because the males are going through the trouble of guarding these females, but they're not the sire, but they are doing something, and it might be important to the females.
Right. Or it's like, I don't know, you made that reference. It might have been on a member live where humans will goon to a picture of another human with that's naked or something. The snake just knows that the behavior should be done, but he doesn't actually know if he is the father, but he doesn't care because like he could be the father next year.
He probably feels good. He's like, I'm guarding this.
Right, I'm performing my biological
and
necessity.
She's like, good, he's guarding me. I feel safe.
Right. So like it doesn't matter that he's not the father because he could be the father next year. Like if she gets eaten by whatever coyote because she's feeling fat, he can't even, there's like a mutual benefit there, even if he's not the sire.
Yeah, I'm
That's
sure
the dream anyway.
They like being near the girl. Like some of them do. Some of them are like, I'm out of here. That's what, because for instance, like I have a male in there with Fiona right now, and this is like, he didn't breed her until this year, even though I tried last year. And then I ended up putting Beloved in there. And Beloved is one of those breeders. He goes straight to her and he just stays with her. Even when they're not mating, he's like coiled up with her. You know, he'll strike at you when you go near them. But Fennec, he locked up with her for 24 hours. But ever since then, he's been every night ripping that cage apart.
Do you think that's like personality or ontogenetic? Like, do you think as he gets older, he might switch styles?
I'm thinking it might be because the first time I noticed that behavior was with Jet, my white-lipped python. So I had been practically cohabbing Jet and Pearl for about a year. And they loved each other. Like, I have so many pictures of them, like, coiled up, sitting cheek to cheek, you know, like that cute way that sometimes snakes will. And, you know, they were like that for like a year. And then when I finally was like getting more serious about breeding them, I started keeping him in his own enclosure and her in her own enclosure. And when they finally did lock up, I left them in there because I wanted, you know, lots of copulations and mating behavior. Well, I had to take him out because he was like rubbing his face.
Trying to get out.
So he locked up with her. Same thing. I don't think he did 24 hours, but he locked up with her, and then suddenly this snake that would usually love to cuddle and be around her, now he wants away from her. And I was thinking maybe it's like first time males that they have this, like, you know, like, I don't feel confident in myself. I better get out of here because I did it and now I need to get out before another male chases me away.
Yeah, like in Boa land, I feel like they don't really want to run away, like they're plastered on the glass, like, please let me out, until she's like honestly done. I've never seen them wimp out, but
yeah, I mean, it could be that too. I'm just like, and I have like very, very low sample size.
But it could be different for different species too. Like maybe there's more male combat in white lips.
But the difference now in like later years of me pairing Jet, he went after that first season. Every season after that, he turned into the very doting male that, you know, wanted to be near her. And in fact, when I paired him with Dreamy for her first season, he was very patient with her. He didn't chase her around the enclosure. He would just go near her, and then she would be like, oh my God, and pee, and then run and hide in her hide box. And he never followed her into the hide box. He waited for her. And finally, after I fed them together in the same enclosure, and she ate her rat, and then she went over, took his rat out of his mouth, ate it, and he sat there and watched her. And then that night I found them locked for the first time. So he went from being
they laid the tramp.
He totally, like, he learned how to, you know, be around the females. Like, he went from being like this timid snake that wanted out to being like, I'm gonna guard this female. And so I don't know if he
do you think multiple, like an attempt at like multiple paternity would demoralize the loser in that situation? This is a snake, by the way. We're not talking about a complicated animal. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, if you put in a species with male combat, would the loser feel less sexy after that and not want to breed anything if you happen to put all three together?
Or
because in boas, I feel like they do compete, but they're like, whatever. It's like a sex den. Hopefully, we get her pregnant. Like, boas don't necessarily.
Or another thing I was wondering is, because at first I mentioned to you, I texted you like I messaged you on Instagram that I wonder if smaller males, like they'll breed faster, but then dump their whole load on a female, or they'll make more sperm to try to compensate. But it doesn't sound like that's happening because the larger males are still over like having better success guarding the females. But so like the smaller males just
okay,
run faster.
real quick. Do rattlesnakes do spermatogenesis all year long? I don't even know.
I think that scientists will tell you no.
Okay. All right.
A year.
Is Warren still here? He never referenced the rest of it. He left. But if he comes back, let us know if rattlesnakes do spermatogenesis all year long. You'd think they wouldn't, because
I asked him about that, and it wasn't specific to rattlesnakes, but that snakes only have spermatogenesis once a year.
What if they live in a tropical place?
But I'm thinking it's not like, oh, they like, because when you say that, like I get an image like, here's your cup of sperm, right?
Dole it out carefully.
All the sperm you get, you're gonna make it all at once. But maybe they just have a season, and because in the paper the rattlesnakes they have 2 mating seasons. They have a spring and a fall. So they're mating in the fall and they're mating in the spring. So I'm like, well, if they're only having spermatogenesis once a year, why are they mating twice a year? But maybe they have spermatogenesis where it spans, like they can keep making sperm a certain amount of time. But they said that in this other paper that I read about sperm competition, I think it was bearded dragons, but don't quote me on that. They found out that the bearded dragons would decide how long and how much sperm they would give a female based on the male, because they somehow know if she's already mated with a male. So if she's already mated with a dominant male, they might not give her as much sperm.
Do you think, well, snakes are squamates, do you think they, like if they're a sneaker male running into a territory trying to get a little bit on the side, maybe they don't even want to like give a whole load, they just give a little bit and then they run away anyway?
Yeah.
For like in respect to captive keeping, I think a lot of times our males are too small to like feel like they should mate guard in some situations. What do you think about that? Like, well, I'm talking about ball python people specifically. They're like, well, it's 500 grams. It can kind of breed it. And I'm like, yeah, it kind of can. But like, is that a good male? Is that a male that like knows how to handle the ladies?
I think also it's they have personalities too. You know, like Jet, he didn't feel confident in himself, and it took him a year, and maybe he grew a little more and got like just was feeling. He's like, I know what I'm doing now, and then this other male, I've been doing the same thing with him, where I was cohabbing the fennec in there in the green tree python. He's not really a ladies' man. Like he sleeps far away from her every night. And I've seen him a few times where he's like trying to get it and she says no. But he doesn't try that long. He goes over there to her, says, hey, what's up? And she's like, no. Then he just leaves. And I think another male would just be like, no, come on, I'll sit next to you. I'm going to be here, baby. Like, right.
We can watch a movie.
Like, fine, I'm going to go sit in the nest box. Like, he'll go sit in the nest box. And I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah, like I've had shy boa breeder males where you're like, is he even doing anything? But he ends up doing something like maybe at night. And I've had like aggressive horn dog males where he will court her nonstop for 4 months straight. Tickle, hug, lay with her, anything. Anything she wants, he'll do
I have
it.
a video of I put Jet in Pearl's enclosure, and he touches down. His spur is tickling the ground as he's
Right.
going to her.
He's ready. And sometimes I think that's just like with maturity, but I've had very mature males not be like sexy like that, and I'm just like, I don't know what that is, and maybe that is a heritable trait, you know. They're just never going to be that sexy.
Yeah, they give up too fast.
I know. Men at home, talk to your snakes.
Yeah, I thought it was I really loved reading the paper, and I like thinking about it, how it correlates to what I see in my snakes, and I wish that it was a different population that they got to study, but they can't do anything about that. But
like the other thing I thought about with this, I don't have to even answer it right now, is something that's always been a problem. Is like, how do babies disperse? Like, what percent disperse, or do none of them disperse?
Well, when Rick Shine was studying the elapids, they found that, like you said, the males disperse farther, and the females stay pretty much around where their mother's home range is. Like, that's how he saw the dispersal of the elapids, which, I would think probably would be similar to the North American colubrids, probably. And I think even in this paper with the rattlesnakes, that the males go away and then the females stay.
Right.
You mean
like when neonates are born, they could straight run away their first season if they wanted to, get like a mile away and just try to hole up there just for genetic exchange. And some turtles do that, but they're in water, so it's easier to like.
Do the turtles the females stay in the mother's home range?
I don't think so. I think it's more like, I don't know about other turtles, but like when a baby turtle is a baby, they're just like, I'm just going to wash downstream, I guess. And then certain ones come back upstream and are like, I guess I'll be here. But they're very like weird about how they like make their home ranges. It's almost like random in a way. Like, I found this log, I like it. I found these blackberry bushes 3 years ago, I like them. I found this mushroom 4 years ago, I like that. And then they like plot their whole summer active season around these resources that are almost random.
Yeah, well, that's what they have to find security first, right? They have to find a place
right. And I've marked a turtle, never saw it ever again, ever, and it was already an adult, so that was like a roamer. And then I've marked babies that were near adults. They could have been descended from that one, but they could have been from somewhere else too, just as easily. And most babies I never see ever again, and they're mostly eaten, but like they have to disperse somehow. They can't all be exactly where their parents were, otherwise they would never be anywhere else.
I think that what they found is mainly is the males disperse farther and the females don't disperse as far.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the males are going to go farther because they need to overlap with other females that aren't their sisters and their mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then the females will wait for the males from those other females in the other ranges to like come to them. Hopefully. I think that's the way they do it.
That's the way they should do it. But I almost feel like there has to be some mechanism for like some percent of the population has to be feral and just be like, I'm gonna run.
Yeah, there's like the anomaly, because it was really crazy that the water python study that Rick Shine did, where he found out, when the these like crazy with weather change, when the climate change, when the monsoon started just drowning all the rats, they were having these horrible typhoons that would like flood the whole area and kill all the rats in the area. And the pythons that survived it, they were starving to death because all the rats drowned. And but then just like a mile away, there's a little higher ground, and there was like a healthy population of rats there. But those snakes, because that wasn't part of their range, they just starved to death. They didn't, oh, there's no food, I'm leaving. They were like, well, waiting for the food usually.
Well, that happens to rattlesnakes in the U.S. too. Like an eastern diamondback, somebody made a golf course. Now there's no fires. There's no rabbits. They will wait it forever once they've established a home range for a rabbit to come.
They don't leave. They don't go try to find new food.
Right. So there has to be a mechanism in the babies to make some percentage of them, male and female, just bolt. Just in case. Like YOLO, we don't know where you're going, but just go away. You know, because otherwise you would get stuck eventually because of like stochastic events like typhoons or floods or fires or whatever. That's my theory anyway.
He also found he would know, like, okay, here's a clump of grass where he found a snake hiding under it a certain time of the year, and then he could go back to that same clump of grass and find the snake in that area, in that grass.
Turtles are like that. I only have turtles for reference here because that's the only thing I've ever radio telemetry. But like the same ones will pick the same log every year for 30 years to be their like hanging out log forever once they decided that. So like that's what I was saying. Like there was a blackberry resource area that they all were close enough to go get, but only 3 knew about it because only 3 had ever.
That's why it's really good that they're having multi-sire. So at least if you are, you're like, they're all just hanging around their same area, then at least
the same area. They're predictable. So I'm just like, if I knock down one tree, this guy is fucked because he does the same little like 1 hectare loop every year. So that's why like you need a certain amount of sneakers or like runner adult males that just come in and spread genes and leave. Like box turtles do that a lot more than wood turtles.
The ones that they didn't know who the father was in the litters, did you notice that those were all single sired litters?
Like single baby litters?
Or maybe it was just the one baby that they didn't know, but it looked, if you look at that,
let's enhance. So one baby, number of fathers. So you think this is like reserved sperm from?
Oh no, okay, I got that wrong. I'm remembering that wrong. It was only if in fact it was. Well, wait, the litters 111, and they didn't know who the father is. All those 111. So maybe they
have a father, but no.
Maybe they were like little tiny males that they just couldn't find to radio track. You know, like they didn't implant. Things in them and track them, and so they were like, oh, this male is probably not reproductive, but maybe he was tiny, and like we don't know actually, but I mean it was a thought that popped in my head.
The other thing they did you, I don't think I saw it, but like it'd be nice to see like a family tree. Not like perfect, but like if all of like the CA, are these all like related males? CA50? What's the letters? Oh, unmarked male, atrox. Like if 1 through 50 were all actually like second cousins, but 50 through 70 were out of town genetics.
Yeah, that's why it would have been cool if they could have done like, I mean, I'm sure that would have been like $1 million to do all that.
Right.
Darn, if only they could.
I want a full genome on every snake, please. Thank you. It'd just be nice to be like, okay, most females in the area are related or whatever.
Yeah.
They're all grandmothers, great-grandmothers, daughters.
Well, I was
5% of the resident males are out-of-towners.
So do you know about the rattle cam, the big snake den for the revered it, the prairie rattlesnakes, because they do those big communal dens. And I was like, I wonder if all those females that go to that den, if they're all sisters and grandmas and mothers, and they're all like just one big family of females.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. I want to know that. Also, did you see that picture of there was like a tree that got cut down, or I don't know if it fell down, but they found this humongous, it was a tree hollow, and there was like hundreds of snake eggs in it. They were like tree snake eggs, like hundreds of them. And they were like from multiple years. And I'm like, okay, that can't all be from one snake. And it's like, is it like a family tree hollow where all the females from that hatch out of that tree hollow go back to that tree hollow and keep laying eggs there? Or do
maybe, well, I think we talked about this like a year ago, but like baby snakes don't know anything, so they have to follow the smell of conspecifics to find hibernaculum wherever they're going to go. Like they have to, because they don't know where it is, because they were just born. And most of them weren't necessarily born where they're supposed to hide from weather. So like typically the birthing site is not the denning site all the time. So they have to know that. So snakes should know that they should follow conspecifics somewhere, sometime. So maybe the ones that live in somewhere really wet know that it's good to follow someone else to lay your eggs where they're laying their eggs, because then it will actually incubate and go to term.
Yeah.
Like all those carpets that like do their, like they'll incubate their eggs together.
Yeah, that one year there was a picture of 3 females.
Right. Why are they doing that? Maybe they're giving each other praise, pumping each other up.
Yeah. Well, that video of the python hunters down in Florida, did you see that one where they're like, we're gonna find females on nests, and they found all these nests, and almost all of the nests there was more than one nest there. They were like digging up one nest, and they turn around because there's a female coming out of her nest trying to bite the guy on the ass.
Right.
He was on her nest of eggs.
I guess the question is like, is that just females interacting with each other, finding a good spot, or females remembering where they were born, or females smelling conspecifics and going together?
Because I mean, it's a big, like, huge area that they can choose to lay eggs, and they're like laying eggs in this. Is that really the only spot they could lay eggs? Did you see that video? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I saw it in the Discord. Crazy. I don't think I watched it though.
The nests were like, they were digging them up, and I would swear there was like mushrooms all around them, and it was freaking nuts. And the eggs had all this like tannins on them from the mother, like, you know, rolling around on them. Yeah, it's something different about pythons that they guard their eggs like that.
Do you think we're not letting a python fulfill its biological potential by not letting it pick its own nest site? Do you think they like what we give them?
I know that Pearl doesn't like what I give her. She's laid her one time. They're out of 3 times. 2 times she went under the nest box and just laid right on the floor of the enclosure, and then last time she finally did go in the nest box, but when she's getting close to laying, she's trying to get out really bad. It's like, it's upsetting because I'd rather.
Does she want like an Applegate?
I think she knows. I think, you know, she's high strung, and she's like, that bitch is gonna find my eggs. I think that's what she wants to go hide from me, because she also busted out of her enclosure, and she went up on top, and I had another nest box that was just empty and she went high, and she thought she could hide from me, and I think she would have probably laid in there.
Is there any snake that intentionally, that you know of, lays its eggs not where it lives, like on purpose, like for dispersal purposes? Like it goes away, lays its eggs somewhere special, goes back.
Like
I don't like
those volcano birds. Is that what you mean?
I don't know. Like they know that their food is going to be there. The food that's appropriate for the baby. Like a scrub or something, because scrub's really big, baby's small, eat lizards. They like put the eggs on purpose where baby lizards will be born, but they live over here and eat bats. Do you have ever heard of that happening?
Well, I mean, they don't know that much about green tree python nests because I don't think anyone's ever actually found one.
What?
But,
it's crazy.
I think that the babies are known to be found on like where there's like a like their sun shines. Like it's not deep in the rainforest. It's in an area where there's like sunlight, and the babies are usually found along the edge where the sun comes. And so my guess is that the females are probably going down, finding a nest near the sun, like probably down, kind of like how those pythons in the Everglades were, like down under all the mulch and the leaves and stuff. Mm-hmm. And then the babies come out and hang out on the edge of the.
You think a green tree python incubates her eggs on the ground or in a tree? Like
yeah,
in a cavity.
They're like that long when they're born. They're not going way up there.
What if it's like on the ground under something like a?
I mean, all the tree monitors are up there. I wouldn't lay my eggs up there.
That's true. It is important where you lay your eggs. Like turtles, when I found nests, they're picking spots not because they give a fuck. It just needs to be near the water and like have like south facing frontage so that the sand warms up for like semi-aquatic turtles. But snakes don't do that. They like pick it differently. Like I don't know. I'm sure it's different depending on where you are.
What about the hognose? What do they do?
I think they do that we're aware of, pick it based on like the soil texture. Because they lay it in sandy, like loamy soil. And it's just hot as hell all around here in the summer. So it's probably more important to just keep them away from the sun. I don't think they like pick decaying vegetation the same way like eastern snakes do, because they'll pick like holes in trees that are because they don't need that much heat to keep them going. What's up, Lori? I just think there's probably some amount of like site selection if they're going to leave the eggs that we don't know about. Or if they're going to incubate them. I don't know. I went to Dr. Emily Taylor's presentation last night, and she talked a lot about the findings they made from rattle cams.
I'm jealous.
Particularly communication between individuals through head twitching that uses very different mating behaviors. They had footage of it between adults and neonates. That's cool.
I know what she was talking about because I watch rattle cam a lot. And whenever I see it, I kept thinking that it was a male because like we see this mating kind of twitching, but I don't know if they were males or females that were doing that. Maybe the females do it to each other too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? That mating thing that snakes do when they're like kind of a head twitch to the girls, and it must be a sexy thing.
I don't know. Like we did go over all those papers where like they'd put like baby garter snakes or whatever and see if they would follow related animals versus unrelated scents. Like, and they would prefer to follow relations, mothers, siblings, most of the time. So they probably are doing more than we give them credit for, is all I know for sure.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
So sometimes I'm just like, oh God. Like all of these particular behaviors, maybe like that's why like when you ship a snake somewhere, it like for some people like it never takes off. It doesn't eat for me. whatever. Like it might have imprinted on that region or that weather or the
Yeah.
way you were keeping, and now you like ruined them by like moving them.
That's it. Like, I can tell a difference when I hold my snake, and then if like one of my friends comes over and I let them hold one of my snakes, I like sit there and watch them, and I watch my snake, and I feel like I can tell that my snake is acting different. Like I try not. I think that I really do think
Sure.
that like,
I think they're smarter, but I'm always like, I don't know. I don't want to like over apply feelings to them.
Well, not that just that they're like, this is stranger danger. That's what I was thinking.
Oh, you think they can recognize?
They're like, who the hell is this person holding me?
Right. Supposedly cobras can distinguish different kinds of people. Supposedly. But I always wondered if there was more.
Like, I wasn't thinking that my snakes love me and that's why they like me to hold them. I just think that they're not afraid of me.
Well, maybe that's like an easy master's thesis for somebody. Just like, can different species of snakes distinguish different people? Period. Like it can be common species because like they probably can.
Especially if you're the one that brings them food.
Right. They should know you. You're the cool kid. And everything else should be foreign. They recorded the presentation and he left a link in the Discord.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll have an 8-hour drive tomorrow. Catch up. Oh man, Chris is here. What's up? Did we learn anything from this paper?
I feel like I did. Well,
Okay,
I felt affirmation.
I don't know what I want to do. Like in general, sometimes I'm just like, oh god, we're probably abusing snakes because like a 30-hectare home range is really big. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, we're keeping wild animals in captivity. So.
Okay, but I don't have 30-hectare home ranges for each one.
We just have to say that we keep wild animals, and that is fun.
I don't eat them. You know what I mean? So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's an improvement over at the wild.
I mean, I don't develop property. I don't develop houses on their land.
That's good. Like sometimes I had a dream, a vision. You know how people build those like usually for like a berm or something, like a big indoor walk-in, just like a closet they converted. And so the berm has this whole big room with all these different little spots. I was like, well, what if you did that, but for 5 adult boas or something? And they could pick their favorite spots and like do things differently. Like how would they interact together if they could interact in like a non-competitive space? What would that be like? Would that not be enough space? You know, like a room?
Well, I think it was Chris Applin. I don't know if you know who that is. He works in Indonesia at one of those farms, on one of those reptile farms, the kind that breed for pets, not like a food farm. And he has these really humongous enclosures for the diamond pythons, and they still push their face. Like, I mean, really humongous enclosures.
So that still wasn't enough to keep them happy.
Yeah.
Do they not like each other, or do they not like?
I think they're just like, I want to go roam. Maybe there's another girl over there, or who knows what, like I can't remember. I think that he asked him if it was the male or the female. And I think what he said was the male does it more, but the female will do it too.
Do you think we should take our snakes for car rides?
I mean, there's people that, I follow a bunch of people on social media, and there's this one person that comes to mind. They have a scrub python that they let out all the time because she's had to bring it to the vet because it has it'll get a rubbing injury. And they just let it roam the apartment basically because they were like, they can't get it to stop. And he'll come out and then he'll find some place to perch. They have all these perches all over the house. And then, you know, he seems fine with that. He just wanted to go find his own spot or something.
Interesting. Like, you know, like old timer ball python people used to be like, my ball python won't eat. I gotta ship it to my friend and he'll ship it back. And just like the process of doing that made the snake feel like it had dispersed. And then it would decide to come and eat. And so like some percentage of every species probably want to disperse. But like if your snake is a pusher, does it want to disperse or is there something wrong with its enclosure?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
One or the other.
How many kids have to come into a podcast?
Before we say goodnight,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you your opinion because I'm going to be building an enclosure for my boas. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking I wanted to try cohabbing them. Have you ever done that with boas?
I mean, like effectively they're together for 6 months a year. Does that count? What I would do is I would build a pass-through situation. Have one cage and another cage. And you can close off the like tunnel of love if you want, sometimes. What do you think about that?
I wanted to make it really cool with like a log and yeah. The log
I'm sure it'll be fine.
Pass through.
I don't think he's gonna ever be mean to her. I just mean like, I don't know, when she gets off food and she's ready to eat, I've had to pull male boas out of female boas' mouths because they're not always paying attention. You know?
Yeah, or they were like, I'm hunting, and then the male moved and they're
it touched her like too close to her face, and she'll turn around and bite him. But normally they're fine. So like I don't necessarily like them, especially after she gives birth, to stay together because I'd rather feed her in peace.
So they don't have heat pits, do they have you ever noticed any heat sensing from them?
Yes. Yeah. A little bit. They know it's hot.
Well, they might still have like heat like underneath their scales.
Yes, I think so. I agree. It's just they're not as bad. So like, you know, some snakes, if your hot ass face flashes before them fast, they don't take the time to distinguish that hot ass face.
Yeah. Well, I have something better. So the Amazon tree boas, like, you know how people say, oh, some snakes are smart and some snakes are dumb. Like, I don't think they're dumb. They're really cute. Like they are kind of dumb because they do this thing where I'll show them the mouse, right? And I already heated the mouse up nice and hot. They smell the mouse and see the mouse, and they don't care because they're like, there's a mouse, and they turn their head and stare at their cage has I use one of those radiant heat lamps. Mm-hmm. So it's like a heat lamp. They turn around and stare at their heat lamp. And
that's
I'm like,
what I'm saying.
It's right here. Turn around. And like I can poke them and they're just waiting for the heat lamp to move. Because they're like, once that heat lamp moves, I'm
right. So boas aren't that bad because they don't have as much heat sensitivity. They're actually like looking a little bit. But I'm not pulling. I don't want to pull boas out of boas' mouths anymore. Yeah, so like that's why I was like, if you had a cool top section and a cool bottom section, and it had a portal, and you could just slide it closed when you go to feed, like you force one to be up and one to be down.
I might have to do the thing where I just keep a male really tiny in a tub.
I mean, we all do it.
Male's enclosure.
Right. I bet you, like, knowing what I know about ball pythons and corn snakes, big, giant, sexually virile males would do better. So that's the same is true for boas probably, but.
Yeah. I was like, because do they get as bad as like white-lipped pythons where they, certain times of the year, they just become like psycho for food? Where they'll bash their face. The females, will they like bash their face if you're like walking by their enclosure?
Oh yeah, yes. The other thing I noticed is like the tendency to want to escape is hereditary in boas. Like I have whole lineages that are pushers and lineages that are not pushers. And I don't know why. Same enclosure, same food schedule. But like some of them are like, I gotta go way sooner than other ones on the same schedule. And it's not has something to do with whatever, their life history, where they're from. But those ones I'm like, ugh, I could like miss 2 days of feeding them and they will nose rub in the cage that they've just found a way to nose rub in. It would have been fine. And I'm like, but other ones won't do that. Like the higher percent Colombians are more likely to be sitters and waiters, even when they're hungry. And higher percent, like Central American, like Nicaraguans, are runners, more likely to run away. In my experience, I don't know if this is for everybody. So, and my Sigmas don't push at all.
Yeah, mine, I still have them in their in a rack tub, but I wanted to build like a big 5x3 by 2 enclosure for them, and put like a log in there, some like plants, and
if they're far, like you could probably still co-house them the whole time. You just got to be careful about, you know, like if she's up here, feed her. He's way down here in the corner, feed him. But if they're together, they're not smart enough not to get each other.
So I've been feeding them, you know, same night. They get the same food on the same schedule. And my male is actually bigger. He's longer. He grew long faster. Like she's not that much longer. She's starting to catch up to him, but he grew long and thin, and she stayed shorter, and she looks more plump.
Well, he might actually be sexually mature now. Technically, like his body's like, I'm doing it. Let's commit to like this body plan.
Yeah, well, I've been feeding him on the Vin Russo plan, so they're tiny.
Okay, what is he like? But is he still like 2?
How old are they? I don't know. They're at least 2.
I think no matter how small the male is, he could still be technically sexually mature at 2 in his gonads feelings.
I was surprised though to see him like he like bursted in size, even though I was feeding him the same.
Right,
schedule.
his body's like, I'm breeding now, technically, even if he's smallish.
Yeah, he like grew long, and then I was like, oh, should I? Because he started to look like he was getting skinny, even though I was feeding him the same as her. So then I was like, oh, now I have to feed him more. So I have to. Now he's going to be way bigger than her.
Well, feed both of them a little more.
I moved them. I had them up high on the rack too, but I moved them to the bottom now, so
they can be colder.
The floor gets really cold, and I noticed that they're on the heat now, and I'm like, oh, you never had to be on the heat before.
Right. It is funny because most boas could run on ambient if your ambient's like 80, 82. For most people, most of the time. I think people think, because a lot of people like know that ball pythons can be run on ambient, but they don't think about it for all these other species. You could just run like a sort of temperate colubrid building and run boas ambient all the time if you really wanted to. I don't know how long it would take for their litters to develop. Probably way longer. But they don't need as much heat as people think that they do. At least the imperators and sigmas. I'm not talking about Brazilian Amazon basin stuff because it's different country. That's why boas put up with our shit a lot. All of our terrible husbandry, they'll put up with it if in a way that's special, I think. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think they're special.
Yeah, maybe Shorfa special.
No.
All right, we did it.
All right, thank you for doing this.
Yeah, it was fun. Everyone should go at least peruse the paper. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to know what a minimum convex polygon is.
To understand.
Yes, it's fine.
Some of it has the math, but I always skip the math.
Yeah, you can skip the math. It's more about just thinking about groups of snakes in the wild. together, what that means for you. That's it. See everybody Monday for Member Live, Thursday, Nashville. Is that it? Did I do everything? What do you got? You got everything for sale? Sell something real quick. Go.
I don't have anything for sale, but
anything coming up?
I'm well, hopefully that one time he mated with her, he's still in there, so he could get her before she ovulates. But
you have Amazon babies?
Ovulates. No, they're cohabbed. They live together and they're very sweet together. That's kind of what made me think that maybe I could do the boa constrictors, but
yeah, I don't think they're gonna try to eat each other on purpose. It's just when you go to feed, they're not smart about.
Yeah. Well, the Amazons, it was really cute. One time she did, I was like feeding and he turned around to look at the mouse, and so she nipped at him, but she realized right away and like she didn't grab onto him. She just like pulled away. And you know how they have those like little goofy faces with the big eyes? They turned around and were like staring at each other. And it's like they had an expression like he was like, "Did you just bite me?" And she was like, "Oh,
fuck, dude, what? Sorry."
And that was the only time that's happened. I'm surprised.
That's good. I just like
they're heavy.
Like I cohab the Jap rats almost year round for years, and it was fine until one time when they were too hungry or something, and the male finished first, and she still had the other half, and he started to eat her head for sure.
Sometimes the male doesn't want to eat, and I'm wondering if it has to do with him she's a little bigger than him now. And I'm wondering if he's like, I don't want to eat around her. I feel afraid of her.
So I would pull the feed, which is fine. They knew what was going on otherwise. But I do like to give a little extra food to boas in the breeding season. And if the female's building foggles, she will be psycho. So I don't defrost rats until I pull males out. Because it happened last year. I was pulling male boas out of...
It was a thought, and I thought I would ask you because you know about boas.
You can still do it for fun if you want.
Yeah, maybe I could he can be in there certain times of the year.
Like most of the time, I think. Yeah. You know? All right, let's say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. It's still going.